Good morning, class. It's Wednesday morning for me. Whenever you're watching this, hope you enjoy the session. This would be a good one to do close to bedtime. I will include one optional challenge peak pose, which is 8-angle pose that was requested by one of you during the discussion this past week. But you can certainly skip it and stay in the yin mode that most of this class will entail. Props you would likely want are either a bolster, a pillow, or a blanket that you can fold up. Other than that, I think you should be okay. So today's class is actually going to begin on our back with some breathing and moving into the poses from there. So safely make your way all the way down to your back. And if you are using a prop such as a bolster or a blanket, do have it nearby so you can reach it while you are looking down. Once you are safely on your back, let's keep the knees bent. Take the feet a little wider than hips and allow the knees just to rest against one another. Lift up the hips, lengthen the low back, and soften through the backs of the arms and the back of your head. You can keep the arms beside you or place one hand on your belly, one hand near your heart. And just take a moment as usual to just notice where your thoughts currently are. We're not going to stop the thoughts, but we're going to start to move our attention away from those as we bring our awareness to the breath and our breathing muscles. The big one is the diaphragm. And to know that it's working on your next inhalation, you should be able to feel the belly rise up towards the sky. That means your diaphragm is expanding and pressing into the abdominal cavity. And as you exhale, the belly should sink back down towards the earth. Inhale, belly rises, and then maybe feel your chest expand. And you exhale, reverse, chest relaxes. Belly sinks back towards the earth. A couple more times on your own. And now that you've used your breath as a tool to guide your mind into the present moment, continue breathing deeply and fully. Let's stretch the arms overhead, extend the legs, and reach through the fingers and toes. As you exhale, walk the feet back in, bend the knees. And take the hands behind the knees onto the thighs and reach your forehead towards the knees as you exhale. Inhale, bring the head back to the mat and both feet to the mat. And then cross your right ankle over the left thigh, keeping the ankle bent, allowing the right knee to open to the side. Thread your right arm between the two legs, and the left arm will come around behind the left thigh. Let the fingers interlace as you gently bring the left knee in towards you. Again, shoulders and back of your head are relaxed. Keeping the right ankle bent and the right knee wide. Bring your awareness into that right hip. The muscles around the right hip that are noticing a sensation. If other thoughts start to occupy your attention, just let those thoughts float on by like leaves in a stream as you bring your awareness back to the present moment, the sensations of the pose. Release the hands away from the thigh and bring the left foot back to the mat, opening the arms out to the side. This is where you could use a prop and just slide it underneath the legs. With the arms out to the side, you'll allow both knees to just drop over to the right so that pillow or blanket is now catching your left inner thigh, inner knee. But you may not want it, and you can certainly slide it out of the way and continue with a stretch there. I like to lift up the shoulder blades and stretch them out. And then gaze to the left and just stay here with your breath, both ankles still bent. Enjoying this gentle twist. Again, to stay present, just notice where you feel the pose. Any strain should be protected by your prop or decreasing how deeply you're moving into the pose. Your breath is still full and complete, in and out through the nose. As you stay here a little longer, notice as the body starts to surrender into a safe place of going a little deeper. It's trusting you that you're protecting it by propping it, modifying it, moving slowly. On your inhale, bring the head back to neutral. Bring that left knee back up to the sky. And then hug the right knee into your chest. I like to hold on behind the hamstring instead of the shin. It's a little easier on the knee. And you can extend that left leg out along the mat if you'd like. Hug that right knee in, head is down. Breathe into the glutes. You can then shift that right knee over to the right a bit, so you're pulling now down more towards your armpit. And maybe circle the ankle a couple of times each way. Bend and release the toes. And then remain still in the stretch. Bring that knee back to center. And allow the left knee to come in and join it. Bring the right foot down, knee is bent, and cross the left ankle over. Left knee is wide, ankle is bent. Put the left arm between. Find the right hand behind your right thigh at the hamstring and gently pull the right knee in. Keeping face relaxed, head down, shoulders down. Become aware of where exactly you are noticing the sensations evoked by this pose. Figure 4 stretch, thread the needle. This is our supine or lying on our back version of pigeon pose. You're still breathing deeply. Guiding your muscles to trust the slow, Steady rate of your breath to surrender into the stretch. Release the hands, bring the right foot down. If you'd like to use that prop again underneath, you can certainly do that. Arms out to the side as the knees now go over to the left. And you want to lift up the shoulder blades to move the left shoulder blade more to the left. And then gaze out over the right hand, keeping the shoulder blades spread out and melting down into the mat. Sending the calmness of your breath into the organs of digestion, into the muscles around the spine, and into the vertebrae. Bring your head back up to neutral, and the right knee back up. Realign the spine as you hug the left knee into your chest. And you can extend the right leg along your mat. Sink into the weight of your mat. Breathe into the left glute. If you want to circle the ankle a couple of times. And wiggle the toes. And then with the ankle and toe still, bring the left knee over to the left a bit more. If your knee is healthy and you prefer to hold on the shin, that's fine. Bring the knee back to center, allow the right knee to join it. Now rock side to side. Maybe make some circles with the knees. And then keeping the legs glued together, taking the hands at the hamstrings. I'm going to start rocking forward and back, just slowly. We're not letting the feet come to the mat, but massaging all along the spine. If you have a thin mat or a hard floor, you may not love this, so feel free to stay side to side rocks. And then on your next time or two, gonna rock up and hold it into a modified Navasana position. Shoulders down, collarbones broad, gazes forward. Those of you that want to move into a more advanced expression of your Navasana boat pose, you can do that. One way to just add a little bit of challenge is keep the legs glued together and extend the arms forward. Always take the hands back underneath to realign the spine. Great. And then bring the feet to the mat. Take the hands behind you. And with the feet hip width apart, lift the hips up towards the sky. Stretching those hip flexors back out for a moment. And then releasing back to your mat. Great. Cross the ankles. Take the hands in front. The feet back. Bring it back to the middle of your mat. Into that hands and knees position. I'm going to spin both Hands around towards the outside, only as far as they'll go. Just stretch through the wrist, shifting the hips back. Try not to sink too much through the low back. Breathe into the forearms, the wrists, the palms of your hands. Gently turn the hands back around to the front. And shift your hips forward and down. We're making a modified plank position, keeping the elbows in so the creases at your elbows are facing mostly forward, mostly in line with the front edge of your mat, not necessarily completely, nor do you want to lock into the elbows. So a little bit of softness there. And we're going to practice a little chaturanga half push-up. You could just hold here, but if you'd like to just prepare for that pose, keep the elbows in close and just lower a little waist, keeping the chest broad. And then press back up. Make sure the fingertips are into your mat, belly drawn in, no sinking down through the hips. One more time as you exhale, elbows hug the ribs, lowering just a little bit, and pressing back up. Getting used to keeping those elbows in line with the wrists and shoulders one more time. Lifting back up, and then moving the hips up and back into puppy dog with the hands reaching forward, the chin and the chest approaching the earth. And also use your prop here underneath your chin to not go as deep. Keeping pressure down through the fingertips can also help protect that range. From puppy dog, press into the fingertips and lift your chest back up. Walk the hands so they're back underneath your shoulders and cross the ankles. I'm going to spin around to face you. You don't necessarily need to do that, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little better. All right, so we'll take both legs out in front for a moment, finding your sit bones. Feel free to soften the knee or use a prop underneath the knee. As you take a moment with the toes to the sky in Dandasana, step pose. A couple more hip openers here, and then we'll lead into that peak pose with options to stay in a stretch. So with your left knee, just going to draw it in towards the chest. Hug it there for a moment. As you keep planted and fully extended out through your right leg. Good. We're now going to cross that ankle over the right thigh, just like we did laying down. But this time we'll take the hands behind if you need to lean back. Otherwise, just start sliding that right heel in. You'll start to be in a seated figure four. You may enjoy using the hand to help slide that leg in, but the goal here, I'm going to turn around to the side, is to make sure you're not rounding the back. To do this, sit up tall with a aligned spine. That's going to bring the stretch right where you want it. Those muscles around the hip joint. You can thread all the way through. But remember, the foot could be way out here, wherever you're getting that stretch, and you can keep the spine aligned. Here's where some options go into play. If you want to work towards 8-angle pose, that's where we'll go next. If you'd rather stay with more of a yin style class today, Then go ahead and extend that right leg fully forward and take the foot to the inner thigh instead. You could bring your prop around. And with that right knee and toe to the sky, you can start to fold forward. Bringing your forearms to the mat or to your bolster. And continue slowly making your way down toward the floor on the inside of your right leg. Instead, you want to work towards that 8-angle pose for that left side. We've warmed up the hips, we've warmed up the core a little bit, and we've warmed up our alignment for the shoulders, wrists, and elbows. So you'll take hold of the bottom of your left foot, and then you'll take your left arm under so that your thigh is up on top of your left shoulder. Sole of the foot is forward. So if you have on slippery clothes, that kind of do, you might find it like it's a little slippery once we start moving into this. But now my left hand's going to come to the mat underneath my shoulder, close to my bum. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my right hand. See how elbows are in and lift up. Then I'm going to bend the right knee. It's going to cross underneath the left ankle as I settle down into the expression of the pose. So notice elbows are in, legs are extended out to the left. And I'm resting my left inner thigh on my left upper arm. To come out of it, you can just bring your glutes back to the mat. And we'll just meet the rest of the class where they are moving forward. Deep full breaths. And then start to walk the hands in, lift the chest. Bring the left knee up to the sky. And extend the left leg out. We will repeat on the other side. So begin by drawing the right knee in for a moment. Just hugging it in to use the leverage of your arms, finding that aligned spine. Left leg rounded, toes and knees to the sky. Keeping the right ankle bent, just cross the ankle over the left thigh. If this is what you need, you can even stay here and prop up that knee and just enjoy the stretch there. Or you can start dragging that left heel in. Using the hands if you'd like to help with that, leveraging the spine into its alignment. As the chest approaches the right inner shin and ankle area. Breathing. Feel free to close your eyes and just move your awareness into the area of sensation, what emotions come up. We're working on the right side, that tends to be emotional stuff related to masculine energy. So those working towards 8-angle pose can just stay here for a moment. If you instead just want to keep it more yin, extend the left leg out. Right foot on the inner left thigh. Find your bolster. And slowly start making your way forward. And stay there for a bit as you breathe. For figure 8 on this side. Again, we'll begin by bringing that thigh basically on top of your right shoulder, keeping the ankle bent, and then finding placement for your hand, and then just right in front of your right side of your bum, and left hand elbow in under the left shoulder, again lifting up, and then you can bend the left knee, right ankle crosses over the left as the legs start to extend out to the right side. And you keep the front of your shoulders away from the earth, gazing at the mat. And breathing. Come out of it, you can take the elbows a little straighter. Find your bum, and then with your toes firmly planted on the mat. Enjoy the rest of the class with or without the prop. Pressing into the hands, lift your chest back up to a neutral position. Take your bolster so it's reachable near the front part of your mat. Trying to keep it out of the camera's way. And then just simply make your way over into that hands and knees position. Untuck the toes. This is where you may want your bolster, depending on how your knees feel. With it between the shins and the calves, you can sit down onto that bolster and just see how that feels to the front of your ankles and your knees with your hands at your lap. An option from here to get a little bit more of a hip flexor stretch is to take the hands near the back edge of your bolster, past your toes, and you lengthen the tailbone down towards the mat and towards the knee creases. You can lift the hips up. And you can go back and forth between those two places. While some of us take it to the next step, which is taking the bolster out of the way. And then sitting down between the feet onto the mat. Still taking a moment there just to assess if the knees and the ankles still happy. And if they are, potentially taking the hands behind you and either lifting up right here or coming to forearms. And some of us may go all the way down. Taking arms into cactus position. It's still important, wherever you are, to keep lengthening the low back and the tailbone toward the knee creases so that you're not putting too much strain on the low back. You want some length there, and that will also intensify and create a deeper stretch into your quadriceps, your hip flexors, all those muscles along the front of the thigh that even run past the hip crease. Close our eyes and just remain here for a little bit. Watch the colors that arise, the sensations. Using your slow, even breath to help you surrender to the effects of this pose. So Supta Vajrasana. For example, I did a leg workout yesterday and I feel my heartbeat in both quadriceps right now. It's really nice. What are your ankles feeling? This is a great stretch for your muscles that run along the front of the shin. So if you hike and run a lot, these muscles deserve this stretch. Where is your mind? It's drifted off. You get back. The position, sensations, and experience of this pose, Supta Vrajasana, reclined hero pose. To safely come out of this pose, if you're all the way back like me, bring your elbows in and your hands to the mat. Shrug the shoulders up a little bit so you get a little more leverage, pressing through the elbows, sliding them back, and then pressing again all the way up. And then we'll all take our hands forward, coming into a hands and knees position, tucking the toes under, sitting back on the heels for a moment. Coming back up. Exhaling into cat pose. Holding it there for a couple of breaths. Inhaling to neutral and all the way into cow. Exhale to a neutral position. And we're going to need our prop again. So find that prop and have it up. To get into this next position, we take the right knee forward. Oh, it looks like we're going to do pigeon pose, but we're not. But that shin fairly close to in line with the front edge of your mat. Going to slide the left knee to the left. And then start to untuck the toes. So toes are going to point to the left on the left foot, knees out to the side. Notice how that's near the edge of that mat. As I sit down, I can make some adjustments. You slide the left knee in. Line up the shin with the front edge if that's okay with your body. And take a moment to settle in there. Then I'm going to start folding forward toward that bolster. Slowly start coming down. And start breathing deeply again. If you've lost and gone into a shallow breath. You need not go that far down. You may be right here. You may need an extra prop under the left inner thigh. So your breath being slow can help you really observe and determine that you're playing that edge, going as far as your body needs, but not too far. And then begin to observe as those muscles around the right thigh and the hip begin to soften. The muscles around the lower leg and ankles begin to release their grip of it. Allowing your body to move to the depth it needs to experience the pose fully. By staying in these poses a little longer, You can sometimes move past some of the muscle tightness and even get into the fascia, the connective tissue. Begin to lift your head, walk the hands in. And shift over to that right hip a little bit as you pull that right ankle in and allow the left leg to come around. Again, slide the ankle a little bit more. Cross the left ankle over. That feels like the bottom leg's just not happy. Guess what? You can straighten it out. But if everything's fine here, or even if the leg's straight, you may be able to walk the ankle over a little bit more, potentially stacking the knees. So we've done this position before, but last time we got into it from a hands and knees position. Okay. So take a moment sitting up tall, allowing the sit bones to settle in. And then take the left hand beside your left hip, walk it out a bit as the right hand reaches up. And keep sliding the left hand out, maybe even coming down to the forearm. Get a nice generous stretch into the right side of your body. Just keep grounding down through that right sit bone. Showing options with props. You don't want props to prohibit you from going as deeply as you need to, but you want to use them so you can be somewhat comfortable and be able to surrender into these stretches that we're holding a little longer. Your gaze can be down or straight. Breathe into that right side body. And you can press into the left hand to come up. And just twist gently to the left side. Breathe and hold. And then coming back to center. And either staying here or once more, going a little deeper by folding forward. Maybe resting your chin on your knee. Drop your forehead with your thumbs. Giving the neck a rest. Lift the head, again, walking the hands in. And you can just this time come forward or then cross. We're going to set up the other side. So this time the left knee will bend and shin somewhat parallel to the front edge of the mat. The right knee will be near the right edge of your mat, as well as the shin and the toes of the right foot pointing to the right. Okay, so adjust as needed. You both go back around the front. And often the one side feels differently than the other, so that may or may not happen for you. But you can begin folding forward. Slowly start to let your breath guide the muscles around that left hip into a place when safe to surrender. And feel that surrender move to your shin and the ankles. Let those muscles release their grip from the bones. Allowing you to surrender into the deepest expression of the pose that is right for you today. You may observe a difference on this side. Maybe less props or additional props to support your joints. So the joints are not strained, but the muscles are feeling the stretch. And to lift the head, walk the hands down, and move the heart out of the way. And start to slide the left knee over to the left. Bring the right leg around. Leg slides a little more, so it's kind of in line with your torso. Left foot crosses over. Remember, just like the other side, you may determine that you're better off having your bottom leg straight. That's fine. Working towards lining so that the right knee is stacking over the left, and then allow your sit bones to settle here for a moment. And then for that side stretch, if you want to, your bolster can be on that right side of your forearm. Otherwise, just the hand on the right side. Reaching up with the left arm, and then reaching over to the right. Sliding that right hand out. Gaze wherever you need it to be. You begin to open up, lengthen, and breathe into the left side of your body. Begin to press into your right hand. Bring the left hand to the outside of your right thigh, right hand behind, lifting and lengthening into a gentle twist. 5 full breaths. And then gazing back to the front, bringing your body with it. Gently folding forward over the neck. You could have that bolster under the forearms. Maybe your torso is resting on that upper leg. In all cases, gravity is having the effect. Opening those hips a little bit more. And to release some of that energy may have been stuck in the areas of the lower chakras or energy centers. Providing an outlet for creativity. Willpower, but not driven by ego. Then gently press through the hands to come back up. We'll uncross the feet. Just to open up those hips. One more time, we'll take the hands behind, feet hip width apart, knees bent, and press up into tabletop. And then release down. Coming down onto our back for our last couple of stretches, making sure you have room behind you. And slowly roll it down. And you can take the arms to the side and just walk the feet in a little bit more. Let the knees just go side to side. Knees back to center. Gonna hug the left knee in as you straighten out through the right. And then cross that left knee over to the right side of your body. Again, I like to scoot the hips now to the left. Spread my shoulder blades out. And you can either just look out over that left arm, or you can even Bend that bottom leg, bend that bottom knee, and reach for that foot. A little different expression of this twist. And the right hand can encourage that left knee to the floor on the right side. Last few breaths here. Release the legs and straighten that bottom leg out. Roll back to center. Realign the spine and then straighten out the left leg. Hug the right knee in. And then gently bring it across to the left. Scoot the hips to the right. Spread out the shoulder blades. And you can add any variations of this you like, pressing the right knee down, bending the left knee, and holding on to that foot, gazing to the right. Releasing the legs, straightening out the left leg, coming back to center. Both legs straight, arms overhead for a solid long stretch. And then moving the arms by your side, feet a little wider, surrendering to Shavasana. Or if you're doing this at nighttime, surrendering to sleep. Taking the Shavasana as long as you like by just muting me or pausing it. Allow your mind to scan the body. Feel like there's more flow. You feel more open. All your pieces functioning together, not as separate parts. 10-minute Shavasana is optimal, so please stay longer if you can. Otherwise, start wiggling fingers and toes. Turn your head side to side. Bend the knees. Lengthen the low back. The muscles of your face. Move your wrists and fingers. Gently roll to one side. And then safely press back to a seated position. With eyes still closed. Just feeling the power holding these stretches and poses longer. Benefit of slowing down. If you like, two hands together, heart center. Thank you.